GM, what's going on, you degens? How is everyone doing today? Season 3. Is that your name? Is that how I say it? Can you just confirm season 3? Got the whole squad in here. I think this is Jaguar, Cutter, Mr. Sandman. What's going on? GM. Free Market, good morning to you as well.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
We're good, man. We are good. Things are good. I got a nice hot coffee in front of me.
My coffee is lukewarm, but I'll take it.
King Blue, hologram.
I know.
The homies are here.
Yeah, Hologram and I are getting excited for that gap drop. Comfy boys represent.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna go shopping at the Gap. I want to get one of those Basquiat T-shirts that they have.
Yeah, you know they got the goods.
Kevin, Chipper Howe, comfy boys in the house.
Comfy boys.
Jiao, T.O. Dave. Look at this. Everyone is wishing the GMs.
We like the GM. I'll tell you, long ago on a site far, far away, somebody had a tagline every morning. Good morning, future BitClout millionaires. And I don't remember seeing a lot of GM before that. So I'm not.
I think you started it, honestly.
A trend, but
I think you started it.
Let's just say that Farouk and Whale Shark and Zeneca and many of your favorite NFT influencers were once on a small little startup called BitClout. That was a social network built on top of a blockchain. People had their own tokens. You could buy and sell somebody's career, somebody's concept, somebody's personality.
Yeah.
And
there's going to be a really interesting dissect of that, I think, that could happen. Like what ultimately went wrong, because there was so much right for a little bit. And yeah, I really just think that there's a bit of a dark side to assigning a dollar value beside someone's social media profile.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe that's
it was
wrong.
It was an interesting study in human psychology, and I know that BitClout has been rebranded as DSO, and I actually had somebody hop in the Alpha Mib General, and say, "Anybody here on DSO?" And I was like, "Oh, this must no," because I was like, "Oh, this must be a BitClout person," because if you guys don't know, Alpha Mint long ago started on BitClout. I said, "Oh,
yes,
this is a BitClout person."
Probably a little known fact at this point.
Yeah, right. Who found it? And no, this person was just like, "Nah, I just heard about this thing called DSO, and I was wondering if anybody here heard about it." And I thought to myself, "Uh-oh, is the time to be long DSO?" Oh, I can't even say those words. That was that was weird. Strange.
What a time. This is how we all got together. This is the reason why it exists. Little history lesson while we're waiting for some people to file in. Free Market, myself, Cardinal, Wendy Lee, Shubang, and a gentleman by the name of Ray. 5 of the 6. I don't know. Maybe Ray's lurking in Alpha Mint 2. I think he was in there at one point, but all of them are in the Moon Lounge. We had our own project started up on BitClout. We did a lot of networking, met a lot of really interesting people, and ultimately, long story short, has led to this being created now. Free Market and I aren't the leading founders of Alpha Mint. That's Scott, NVO, and Drip Cult. But everyone kind of slowly but surely came together through that. So while it wasn't a gigantic success, it was it led to some great shit.
It created such a strong community, it outlasted the concept itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I mean,
Look, just
at its
popped
fundamentals,
over $6.06.
I'm so sorry for clapping into the microphone. My apologies.
All good. We like the looks. We like the looks.
Oh man, if it is possible to be any more bullish on that, I didn't fucking buy it before the show though. Whoops.
Hey, good looks in. What you got cooking?
610. What fucking chart are you looking at?
Oh, is this another magic situation? Are you kidding me? Refresh and tell me it's not 6. Ugh.
I got 587. Oh. 587, which is nothing to shake a stick at. Look at this big green dong sticking up in the chart there. Let's.
We like the green candles.
Look at this. Look at this. Boom. Somebody somewhere 597 now. 29 ETH purchase.
Nice. 176er. Yeah.
There we go.
Interesting. Someone bought 1.76. Someone sold 1.76 right before someone bought 176. I don't know if the Illuminati is involved here. They're very into their numbers over at that project.
Well, speaking of Illuminati,
well, it was fun.
Can the devs do something? No. Cool. 21 people in the audience. GM to all of you guys. Make sure you throw your GM in there if you're just joining us. Love to see it. But yeah, you want to get the show going? I missed it. I'm sorry. GM, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday, January 19th edition of the Alpha Mint Morning Show, hosted live on YouTube and Twitch. Thank you so much for everyone joining us again today. It's been I don't know. It's been a week. I don't know what kind of week it's been. It's been different. Some of the NFT minting has just been going crazy with all of like the weird EllaDAO and DAO stuff going down. Been a lot of hot cooks in the pre-sale minting and looking forward to that as well. How was your Tuesday, FMC?
Tuesday was great. There were not a lot of mints that I participated in, and I'm still holding off on most of them except, the highest quality ones. I think we had a pretty obvious blow off top a couple Saturdays ago. And since then, the reason we've seen any project pump is because a bunch of traders came back into NFTs. They left after last fall when we had our previous bubble pop. And we had that major fundamental pump for 3 weeks that, genuinely new money flooded into the market. And then it stopped. It was all because Bored Apes were trickling down on us. That money dried up. And now all of our ETH is locked into these small and medium projects again. So we're waiting for that to smooth out. And that will be when either more Bored Apes are bought or Coinbase comes online, or there are a few catalysts that could bring new money into the market, but you are going to just see these rolling pumps as traders move from one mint to the other, trying to dump on each other and run away with the most ETH.
Yeah, it's there's been a lot of depression in some of the existing projects that were doing really well just before that little maybe gas-induced bear market we had for a couple of days there. But gas has been good, and the life hasn't come back to a lot of existing projects, but is flowing into mints. And we're in that kind of that cycle right now. And eventually, people are going to make their bags and put it back into existing projects. We talked a lot about Lemons, Cool Man's Universe. Alien Friends, that little cohort of profile picture projects have been definitely sitting lower than they were. I think it's like about 0.35 for Lemons right now, just under an ETH for Cool Man's, and Alien Friends I actually haven't even checked on recently, but I think it was headed towards that. Yeah, it was headed towards that 2 ETH, and those were projects that were super hot. Yeah, maybe they were due for a cool down anyways, but a lot of the mints and stuff that were happening just before the WTF fiasco and the extended high gas prices really haven't recovered since then, but I think that's okay. You know, there's always going to be a shakeout, and you know, people move their funds around, and it will come back. So,
And I
you know,
actually think it proves that gas is less of a factor than people think, right? Gas right now is really low. It's been averaging under 100 for at least the last 48 hours, and it hasn't done shit all for any of the floors out there. And in fact, floors have still been down, right? Yet when new money was flooding into this market, people were willing to pay the gas, right? Gas was consistently over 100, but damn, NFTs were moving as great as I had ever seen, even including last summer. So it's really not about high gas. It's about whether new money is coming into this market. It sounds simple. The thing is, you tell someone that, it's like, well, you don't know when it's going to happen. You can't make it happen. And it's kind of just like you sit and wait, and where's that next catalyst?
so I agree and I disagree on some regards. I wholeheartedly agree with the new money flowing in, right? Like you've mentioned it many times before, but you know, celebs start buying Bored Apes, and you get that ripple effect that kind of hits through the market. You know, if these big older projects start to moon in price, you start to see, you know, the people who got in early take some gigantic profits and redistribute throughout the NFT space. So I fully agree with that. I don't think that low gas means that NFTs should be mooning, but I do think that when gas is extendedly or is very high for an extended period of time, it definitely takes the wind out of the sails. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
those projects that are sitting at 0.05, 0.1, all of a sudden you want to buy it from OpenSea and you see the quoted gas at like 0.035. Now all of a sudden you're 35% or more, doing some backwards math, underwater to the investment just on the purchase price of your gas. Definitely stings a little bit. So that would be my personal take on it. But yeah, I agree with you in the sense that gas isn't end all be all, and like gas consistently being below 100 or being below 80 doesn't mean that we're just NFTs go up.
Well, and I also want to distinguish between what I believe are fundamental pumps, okay, versus rolling trading pumps, right? Low gas stimulates trading, okay? And anytime you're having a fundamental pump, having low gas is, you know, it's gasoline on the fire, even though that sounds contradictory. It increases it. But I think that fundamental pumps are when new money comes into the market that's not going to leave versus just money rotates around, because right now the only thing that's happening is money rotates around. If we get a new mint and it's hot, it's because money is coming out of existing projects. It's not because new money is coming into this market. So there's a difference between fundamental pumps and kind of the manufactured ones. And I think when it comes to fundamental pumps, unless gas is at SHIB levels, it's not going to derail it. But yeah, I agree. I mean, look, we all want lower gas. I'm doing more things because gas is low. That's not a question.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. And for those projects that rely on lots of transactions taking place, like the on-chain gaming that we're, you know, so enamored with, it definitely does hurt there too, right? Like
Yep.
Critters was one that really had this, you know, behemoth ball rolling with Becker and Pranksy jumping in, and all of a sudden gas is high. Well, you know, you have to claim your block token using gas. You have to mint the plots using gas. If you want to sell said plots, you have to unstake them because they come already staked using gas. And this is just, you know, when you smash it all together, ends up adding up to a lot. And then the buyer has to buy, you know, use gas to buy said things all over it. Just like all of these little transactions
And I'll
end
tell
up
you
being a
something I
large
ran.
suck out of the system.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something I ran into. You know, after 7 days, if you've rented a critter, you're allowed to claim it back. Well, I was doing the math, and based on what you would get on the open market, it wasn't worth the gas to revoke the critter and then list him again for somebody else to buy, right? Because the amount people were paying to buy wouldn't have covered the gas to revoke the critter.
So you can leave
So,
the critter in their wallet and they can just
yeah,
keep playing. Oh,
they keep playing
that's
until you
super cool. So
manually.
if you get
Yeah.
somebody who's like really raking it in for you, you just let them go
hmm
for it.
The only thing I question from a game theory perspective is, does somebody stop playing or slow down once they mentally know it can be revoked at any time, or are they still going? Probably not, right? They're
No, I
still.
think that if well, that's the really sticky thing about
Mhm.
that game is just that, like, once you've contributed to your own base or anything that you're building or a group of people, right? Like, you want to keep doing it and you want to get back into it. So I would assume that if they're in there and they have been very active, provided money is not a huge issue, they would probably just
Yeah.
look to rent again.
Right.
I think.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, no. So I think that was just I should have thought of it, but it was just an interesting thing that came up. I was like, oh, the gas here would actually cost me, because the moment you can get back your rental as a competent landlord, you're like, ooh, give me back my property. But wait a minute, it actually costs money to revoke your property, and if you can't get that same price to rent it again, what's the point? You're wasting money and time trying to go out and rent that thing again. So,
100%, and you always run the risk of somebody renting it and then not playing too, right? And you're just
oh
costing
yeah,
yourself in
that
the
that's
not
why.
not earning that 30%.
Right. That's right now why when the price is zero, you're a lot more hesitant. Like, I like renting it to people.
Mhm.
Luckily, we have our Discord. I'm in a ton of Discords where you develop this very large community of people who know about critters and stuff, so that they can rent them, and that they're gonna play. But when the price of critters is like zero, I'm not convinced that the person's gonna be completely motivated to play. When block was $1.80. Sure. Not necessarily at 25 cents. It's $150 a day, which here in the Western world is a decent living, but in some parts of the world, that's a monthly salary, right? So
Yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
profound.
it can be firmly above minimum wage, that's for sure.
Firmly, I mean, we were talking about the other day that monthly income in a certain part of Mexico was $100, right?
Yep.
And I mean that this is 50% more income per day for playing Minecraft. I think
Yeah.
that's really profound.
It's powerful for sure. And this is one of the things that is going to continue to be a trend too, because it's leveling the playing field as well, right?
Yep,
I think that anyone in the world can be doing this and earning a decent living. You're going to see a lot of people jump in there.
we saw it
Um,
with Axie Infinity
Axie is a
in
great,
Asia.
perfect
Yeah,
example, and it's not
and
even the best form of it. So
right.
more to come for sure. Let's jump into the crypto market because I do think that this is sort of playing a role in what's going on in NFTs as well, right? Um, Things are pretty rocky right now. We're hugging that $3,100 mark pretty firmly on ETH. Bitcoin is constantly flirting with breaking that $40,000 barrier. I think that the sentiment of people is starting to turn pretty bearish, which doesn't mean that it is. It's just that that's a sentiment, and as we know, oftentimes the exact opposite can happen, right? It's not always a self-fulfilling prophecy when these things take place. But I do think that with things kind of feeling like they're teetering a little bit, maybe some people aren't locking up all of their liquidity into NFTs as well. So I think that this is kind of part and partial, honestly, if you agree or disagree.
Well, there's two reasons one would sell their JPEGs into Ethereum if they're financially minded, right? It's either because you think Ethereum's going to go much higher and you'll be able to buy more NFTs at a later time if you switch it into ETH, or it's because you think fiat is going to go higher than Ethereum and you want to switch completely out of it and into either a Tether or, actual USD. So, one, and I wouldn't call it alarming, but certainly eyebrow raising move we saw was Eddie's is Kongs. This guy is very prominent in the cyber Kongs community and the NFT community in general. He's an advisor on a ton of projects. You'd probably know most of them. That's not to say that he is, he's an influencer. So he's not, it doesn't mean everything he says is gospel. He may not always have one's best interests at heart. But he started selling a lot, if not all of his NFTs yesterday, right? And this certainly alarming to some people. So I would think in his mind, it's by the philosophy of I'd better get into USD because everything's going to fall. And The charts have turned bearish. There's certainly we're at the beginning of sentiment turning quite bearish again after everyone felt a little relief. I would say we never got really bullish again, but at the same time, I just don't know if we've had that flush. Too many people are 100% convinced that crypto is a good long-term bet. And whether it is or isn't, if too many people are convinced of it before, what's the key? New money comes in. And we know there are impediments to new money coming in, whether it's friction for the masses, whether it's regulations for the institutions. But until new money comes in, we're not going any higher. We're just going to be stuck either in the range or lower. And we need some sort of sentiment flush, and we also need some sort of mass adoption into crypto. I believe that's going to happen because of NFTs. I think it's going to happen this year, but we can't discount a flush right here. I am still of the belief that we are going to be stuck in range, and the guys calling for a flush right now are going to be just as frustrated as the guys calling for 10,000. I'm watching 2,800 very closely. We probably wouldn't want to lose that level. I'd kind of assess what was going on at that point. I wouldn't panic, but the charts would be pretty broken if we lost that level. So I'm watching that. We could see a dip there anytime in the next few days. I think it'll be bought, but we adjust to reality. And if that happens, we'll adjust our thesis.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what everyone else thinks about the current state of the larger crypto market, whether you're bullish or bearish right now too. So let us know and kind of do like a little impromptu poll on what the general sentiment is. But yeah, I agree. It does just feel like there's that range, and like it feels very split. You know what I mean? I think there's a bull for every bear right now, and I think it's just going to be a constant ongoing battle. I did see something on Decrypt, which I'll pull up right now. This is not the article I'm pulling up, but I did see that it was something like 30% of Bitcoin purchases at this point are underwater, and then there's some potential for some leverage to get flushed out again too, which might definitely shake things up a bit.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to also point this out because it's a really fundamental fact about markets that trends ride disagreement, okay? And reversals ride agreement, all right? Reversals are caused by agreement. So right now, it feels like half the market is bearish. That's actually good because we know that the underlying trend is up, all right? And as long as a certain number of participants disagree with that, I actually think the trend will stay intact. So why do we get these short-term tops? Because everybody agrees on a short-term thesis. Okay, so I think that's what we're going through right now. But as long as we still have major disagreement about fundamentals, long-term possibilities, we're going to stay on trend. And that works the same way for downtrends too. When people disagree, oh, don't worry, we're not going down, we're going to be fine, buy the dip, it's going to be all right. That supports a downtrend when we're in one. So right now we're in an uptrend. As long as I continue to see this type of disagreement, I know we will continue up in it. But short term, it's very volatile.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely putting some pressure on our beloved NFTs as well. All right, let's pull up Ethereum NFT badge app POAP raises $10 million to fund development. This is great. I think POAP is one of those things that people just genuinely love. I'd never hear anything really too bad about it. I have not been a badge collector myself, but one of the things that I love about POAP is that I think it becomes a very, very easy way for people to understand the concept of NFTs, much like, people who collected their old tickets to say, hey, I was at this, this concert. I can't even think of a fucking band's name right now. I almost said the Beatles, which is gonna no, but I wonder if anybody's ever been
that
in
POAP would be very valuable.
Very valuable, yeah. But yeah, I mean, at its base form, this is such an easy collectible. And POAP, I think, is going to do a lot for bringing people into NFTs even further. I think it's a great first step in removing that friction. Sure, it's on the Polygon layer, but that's okay. I mean, we need things like this to get people into it. So if you start to see POAPs being offered for being at the Super Bowl, which we've talked about a bunch, being something to look out for NFTs. If you start to see them offered at concerts or anything else, conferences like that, this is going to be a way that people get that app on their phone and start to participate in this in a very easy way. And then you slowly but surely start to go down the rabbit hole. So I love to see that they're getting some money to fund their development there. And I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of this.
The general argument against crypto has always been scalability. And this is blockchain technology in general, right? It's very effective at small scales and starts to become not effective at large scales. Ethereum is finally scaling, and it's happening in front of our eyes. We've seen L2s come into their own in the last year, whether we're talking about Poly or whether we're talking about Arbitrum. And a POAP is so beneficial for both the person issuing it and the user. I mean, think about it. It motivates people to attend things, right? And when you're throwing an event, when you're holding a spaces, when you're doing an interview, when you're doing a live show, attendance is key, right? If people aren't there, people don't show up. And POAPs, people know, well, this could be anything in the future. The POAP that you got from Farouk allowed you to mint the Rug Radio Pass, which allowed you to mint the Rug Radio Mint Pass, which allowed you to mint the Rug, right? I mean, these things really have a lot of utility because they're so cheap, so free, and so easy. The app on the iPhone, if you haven't downloaded it, organizes all your POAPs. They're really, really great for a creator to be able to contact their audience, airdrop things to their audience, give perks without having to deal with the cumbersomeness of L1 or gas fees. So I think that POAP is going to be huge. I think the name alone, you can just tell this is going to be like Kleenex or Google, right? Did you POAP? Did you use your POAP? Like it had.
I see your POAP, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you feel it. I think 10 million is like a steal. I think this is going to be one of the largest companies in crypto. I'm so bullish on POAPs, and I can definitely announce that the morning show will be having its own POAPs coming up very soon.
Sick.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already initiated the process on the POAP app. There is an approval. So it's either going to be Friday or next week. But yeah, we're going to start doing some POAPs too. They're just really great ways to not only show support to your audience and fans who are listening, but it just allows the creator so much ability to distribute more content, right? And to reach that audience. So.
Yeah, definitely. As we were talking about this, I'm like, I should do a POAP for my wedding.
We love that. Love that.
No, how cool would that be? Like, just tell people to like sign up for this before, and you'll get a POAP for it, just as a little thing, as a nod to something that I love, we love talking about, and do for a living now. It's not as kind of brazen as being like, download an Ethereum wallet, I'm going to give you an NFT, right?
You can airdrop them your Christmas
POAP so easy
every year.
Oh my god, I love it. That's amazing.
No more mail. No more.
Honestly,
Christmas.
I've never even considered something like that. It's brilliant. I'm not saying that I would do that, but I'm just saying, like, that's, if that is the social use case for it, then this is incredibly powerful. I'm even more bullish than 2 minutes ago when we started this segment. So.
You want to get in on this next seed round with me?
Yeah, I've got a $45 I could probably throw into it. All right. Pretty big news, I think, coming out of the OpenSea world is that they're acquiring the Ethereum wallet maker Dharma Labs, and kind of importantly, the CEO of Dharma Labs is going to become the OpenSea's chief technology officer, which I think they desperately need, and I hope this person is pretty competent. I would hope that they are if they're developing ETH wallets, but Yeah, I mean, this is a signal that OpenSea is going to be having their own wallet, and I've also been hearing rumors that OpenSea is going to be looking to be a fiat on ramp as well for NFTs. Now, we often talk about LooksRare on this show because we're so bullish on it, and how can OpenSea compete with LooksRare in the way that they're doing it? Well, honestly, this is one of them because LooksRare is not going to have the ability to be a fiat on ramp. Their premise is too decentralized, and you do need those like semi-centralized bridges in between, like a centralized company sitting on top of a decentralized network and interacting with the banks and whatnot. So this is one of OpenSea's competitive advantages, and it looks like they are marching full steam towards it. And I hope if that's the case that they continue to work on the technical side of it, because it can be a very frustrating experience. And for new people entering the space, which is obviously the goal, it will be incredibly frustrating for this thing to never work. So I think that this is a huge step for OpenSea. It doesn't make me less bullish on LooksRare. If anything, it almost makes me more bullish. But yeah, this is going to be something to watch, and this is an important step for OpenSea.
I think this is actually the law, some of the bigger news in the industry, and it almost feels buried right now. It doesn't seem like a huge story, but I think that there's two things here. One, this is a huge move by OpenSea. I think we already knew what direction they were going, and this is an obvious move in that direction, right? But the other side of it is, it seems that this almost guarantees KYC on OpenSea at some point, right? Because if you're talking about linking directly to people's bank accounts and being a fiat on ramp, well, that's KYC. And we're not anti KYC, but we know that many crypto people are averse to it. And this, in my opinion, is also good news for LooksRare. So I think this story is very interesting, because I guess this whole show I've just been talking about new money coming in, because I do believe it's the next phase of this market. And I think given all the new money coming in, you can see OpenSea and Coinbase's volumes go up while something like LooksRare volume goes up, as anybody who wanted the old way of doing things, the non-KYC, the OpenSea like format, all that type of good stuff is going to move over to LooksRare. And that's why I think that this news is really big. It's kind of being undersold, I would think, in the way it's being reported. And this is big news for the entire NFT market.
Yeah, having a direct, seamless, like fiat on ramp to wallet to interacting with OpenSea and buying NFTs to said wallet is like, a 4-step process that I think that they're looking to turn into basically one, and including directly buying NFTs with USD, right? So,
Yep.
But yeah, I think that this is going to be something big, and I do love the idea that OpenSea can be a big onboarder of new users, because eventually people start with something and then they look for better alternatives. Like, I can tell you, the last crypto exchange that I used was certainly not the first crypto exchange that I used, but it was the easiest one to get me into the space. And then I started going, oh, there's more out there. Oh, this exchange has some interesting coins on it that I want to check out. And you start going a little bit further down the rabbit hole. So this is a good first step, and I'm bullish on it.
Yep.
No, yeah, sorry. I was just trying to figure out what tab we've got next. I guess speaking of NFT marketplaces, we just wanted to give LooksRare another shout out. We love talking about it on the show just because of how bullish we are. I'm hearing that they've done some UX upgrades on their site, so the buy now feature is a little bit more functional. Adding some better filters in place and whatnot, which is great. I continue to be blown away by the volume that's going on that site, even if it is just wash trading. The amount of WETH rewards that I've been receiving has been steadily increasing, and not just because my looks is compounding, but because the volume is going up. And I did not make a big investment into this, and I did not receive a lot compared to some people for the free airdrop. But I just claimed 0.25 in WETH this morning. And I'm happy to say that whatever error I was having the day before has fixed itself. I think somehow the gas limit was briefly adjusted and is now working. But yeah, LooksRare is hitting it very, very briefly hit $6 here this morning, chilling out at 575. And this chart is basically just been up only. We see some pretty sharp candles on it, but we haven't seen any like just absolute parabolic euphoria type move. And I really just think that this thing is just it's basically like a train that's just picking up some steam.
I'm going to read a quote from a meme because it really puts all of my points that you and I have made about LooksRare into one kind of summary, right? This is your classic bell curve meme with the hooded genius on one side, the 60 IQ on the other, and the 135 IQ in the middle. I will set the scene for you. So 60 IQ is going, LooksRare. 130 IQ is crying, and it's some incoherent rambling is all that's written above them. Now, let's talk about LooksRare really quick. LooksRare isn't just about one marketplace. It's also a proxy play for OpenSea, Coinbase, NFT, etc. Since the average degen can't participate in multi-billion-dollar VC rounds. The 100% revenue sharing model with users makes it a call option on the entire NFT sector in general. Whenever a major event re-rates the sector, Looks could be one of the primary beneficiaries due to being a liquid, accessible NFT protocol with the maximum mindshare. P.S. Devs are also Omega Chads and receptive to their users. Mic drop.
Did you write that? Or
No.
is that you?
Oh,
that was okay. No, I meant that last part. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I mean, looking at it as a call option on the entire NFT marketplace space is, a brilliant way of seeing it for sure, because you can't participate in you can't directly participate in Coinbase's marketplace. You got to bet on them as a company as a whole, which is honestly not a bad bet. OpenSea isn't public yet, although it looks like they will. But LooksRare is going to be the beneficiary of all of these other marketplaces succeeding too, right?
Yeah, I don't think OpenSea is going to airdrop us any of the shares from that IPO either.
Yeah, and when you say I don't think so, like they're absolutely not going to.
Let's be clear.
I know that that's what you meant, but let's just be clear about that. You are not getting fuck all from OpenSea. Maybe
give you a lot of fuck, but none of the all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe down the road, especially if LooksRare continues to kind of creep up in their rear view mirror, you might see some, rewards, loyalty systems, some referral programs going on in OpenSea. But right now, they know that they have you by the balls, and they are just acquiring as much dollar as possible under the hood here, and they are doing a very good job of it.
Yeah. And LooksRare still has another 24 days to convince everybody to come over and use their product, in the sense that these wash trading rewards are basically going to end when their lockup ends in 24 days, right? So the way that they've structured the initial Looks rewards, which I think when we look back in retrospect is considered one of the greatest business moves of all time, is that they essentially wink promoted wash trading to get all of us to go, holy shit, look at this WETH. Look at what's happening here. It makes all of us want to go and use. This was the greatest customer acquisition move of all time. I think if LooksRare had the exact same functionalities of OpenSea, we would all move over tomorrow. I think the OpenSea volume would be zero. I don't know why anybody at that point would use OpenSea. So I think that, what we're seeing here is special. I don't think it's just going to change the NFT market. I think it's going to change how crypto views the way they structure their tokenomics.
Yeah, 100%. And I wanted to pull up this infographic that I think, pardon me, we kind of missed talking about the other day, just about like why, especially for high volume traders or people that are throwing around a lot of ETH, really benefit from it. But just like that 0.5% decrease in This is all framed around one Bored Ape being sold, 49.37. It's sold for 91 ETH. That 0.5% less in fees, equated to about $1,500 for them, which, definitely not nothing. You just bagged 300,000. So are you concerned about that 1,500? Maybe, maybe not, but it's definitely a nice thing. Now, on the buyer side, they ended up getting another 923 Look. Now, at the time of this happening, Look was at $3.80. Now hitting $6, we're now talking closer to $5,000-$6,000 worth of value there. So one Bored Ape being traded is basically equating to, in today's dollar amount, probably about $7,000-$8,000 more per transaction. Now you do that over 100 Bored Ape sales, and now you have $700,000 in value that's been created for the participants of it. Actually, more, because the buyer will get some too. That is going back into the ecosystem and being used to trade NFTs. And on top of that, all of the people who have their Looks token staked is getting a little chunk of that WETH reward too. Again, you claim it and you're either putting it back into Looks, which is, I think, both of our strategies, or you go shopping for a shiny new NFT, right? Like, I claimed 0.25 in ETH this morning. I can buy stuff with that. Like, that's a real amount of ETH, I could almost go buy a lemon for that at this point. Free market, you there?
I was wondering if they're going to
sorry.
buy. No worries. I was wondering if they're going to let us eventually buy NFTs with Looks.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I guess I don't see why not, if it's the token that the platform is operating around and, native to.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I don't even know if I'd want to sell any or buy anything for
No,
Looks. I
that's
would
a
sell
fair
it for
point,
Looks
too,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the staking process of it too much. But yeah, I mean, this continues to amaze. But the OpenSea news is bullish. Again, rising tides lift all ships in this kind of ecosystem. It's very small, tight knit. And there's definitely going to be spillover effects there as well. So very great stuff. Very briefly wanted to touch on a Twitter thread that you brought up this morning about a manga comic, Shonen Jump. Never seen this or heard of this in my life before. I'm not sure if you have too, or either. Have you?
I've seen the imagery. I don't know anything about manga.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't either. But this is not in the NFT realm whatsoever. They said they're going to be a huge, exciting announcement tomorrow. They did have to clarify that it's not NFTs, because the comment section exploded with hate. We're going to unsubscribe. This will be the worst thing you ever do. You're buying into a Ponzi pyramid scheme scam that's killing the environment. Like, just all of the buzzwords being thrown together into one sentence. And it really just signifies to me that, like, they still hate it. There's so many people that still hate this and have the wrong impression of it. And the fireworks that kind of ensued on this.
I would just love to read a few of these quotes for the audience, because, man, they're just juicy.
Well, if you've got some pulled up, I'll read the first one. No, you go ahead, do it. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Clutch Road Again said, "I am warning you now that if I see an NFT, I will cancel my subscription. Piracy will also be absolutely on the table for affordable, accessible manga. Free is affordable. If it means I don't support pyramid scheme scams that hurt the environment." All right. And then underneath, if this is going to be an NFT, then I'm going to start shoplifting your manga, canceling my subscription if you say it's an NFT. For the love of God and anything holy or unholy, do not do an NFT thing. There are very few things that could make me cancel my sub. It's so cheap and provides so much value, but NFTs are one of them. You will never live it down, and you will lose thousands of customers forever. So that is the state of
They hate
the
us.
public.
They hate it.
Yep. And I think I just want everyone to know we all are sick and annoyed of the "you're so early" meme. But when we talk about that, this is exactly what we're talking about. These people are going to be taking out credit card loans in 3 years to buy their little comic book on Coinbase or OpenSea or whatever marketplace is hot at the time. Right
And they're
now,
going to do
all
it
they're doing.
proudly. We're supporting the artist and the
Oh
brand, and then
yeah.
we're going to dig up this person's tweet from 3 years prior.
You have to understand, and this is true in life and politics and love, facts don't convince people of anything. Stories convince people of something. And who are the best storytellers in the world? The media. And the media's crafted a story. I don't think it, I don't know that the media is doing it on purpose, whether it's corporations feeding them ridiculous info. I'm sure it's all of that shit combined. But in the end, it's really just, a figment of a fact that human beings love a story. They're not convinced by facts, they're convinced by stories. This is the preeminent story in the media right now. So it's no surprise that this is what is permeated. But watch these type of reactions very closely. Soon, they're going to be somewhere in the middle. You're going to start seeing some people saying why it's not that. And then you're going to start seeing the majority of people support. And then you're going to see everybody want NFTs. And that is going to be the top. That is going to be when you want to sell everything in your portfolio. You dump on the public. It's $19.99, and we sail off into the 2030s on our yacht.
Yeah, no, this is again, it's kind of like what you said. The "you are early" shouldn't be used as a rallying cry. It's such an it's kind of obnoxious. Like, oh, we're early. There's victory secured. We're guaranteed going to be rich. But at the same time, stuff like this is absolutely a signifier that you are early. That narrative on the other side of the fence that we often don't get exposed to is not pleasant. And I actually, just going back to Cool Man's Universe, Cool Man Coffee Dan had the spaces. When did he do that? Friday, Saturday night, something like that.
Yep, I think they do one every week. Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
and for those of you that don't know, Cool Man Coffee Dan, the artist and founder of that project, has a gigantic following on Instagram. And he, if you go on the Instagram, there's not a lot of mention of NFTs or the fact that he's doing this on there. So I actually ended up getting up on the stage to kind of ask him about, what is it going to take to get those people to support and get that, online in the NFT world. And, I thought he gave a really great answer. And it was just that, like, just genuine art, genuine intentions, and operating in that realm will slowly but surely pull the people who understand your genuine intentions and have always appreciated what you've done in the space. It will slowly start to grab those people. And you'll slowly start to suck more and more and more of them in. And then eventually the haters are in the minority and they'll start to feel like they're missing out. I thought it was a great answer that he gave. And if I wasn't already bullish on that project, I left feeling a lot more too, because it was somebody that just got it. He wasn't worried about what his Instagram following would do if he dropped an NFT. He just said, I'm going to do this. I believe in it. And those that believe in me can come along for it. And much like this manga project is probably, well, sorry, they're not doing NFTs, so I can't really speak to it. But, it was very likely that if they had done NFTs, they wouldn't have like 100% transitioned their business model into NFTs. They probably would have still provided the same value proposition to their current subscribers that they did before. And that's why that narrative or that idea of like, you've lost me, like I'm just gonna pirate your shit after this, is like, it's so fucking ass backwards, man. And I hate it. It's just, it's so jaded. And you don't have to support NFTs to support the person that you've believed in all this time or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. And it's just a matter of human beings being herd animals, and they just need to wait for everyone else to say it's okay before they do it. And that'll happen.
Definitely. But that was a great thread. I You definitely got my morning going, so I appreciate you sharing that with me too. God, we still have so much to go, and we've just been jamming on all these great topics. I really quickly wanted to pull up WGMI, not because I really enjoy doing a segment on it and haven't been lately, but the one thing that caught my eye this morning, just kind of scrolling through it, was I didn't really realize how much of a lead Bored Apes has now taken over CryptoPunks until I kind of saw them side by side on this chart. Yesterday, the floor of Bored Apes was up to 82 ETH. It's hovering around 80 right now, 78. CryptoPunks is having a hard time getting off the mat here. 60 ETH in sales, and or sorry, 60 ETH floor. And I just had this like holy shit moment. Like Bored Apes are really starting to run away with this.
When was the last time you saw a CryptoPunk?
It's a great point because like you say that right now, and as
Think
the
about
sentence was coming out of your mouth, I was like, I actually don't know. Like all of the punks have changed their. I think DC
Yep.
Investor is the only one that I see on a consistent basis. Actually, I think he might have even changed his Twitter profile to a ringer too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I mean,
everyone,
amazing point. Yeah, it's a ringer. Huh.
this is again, this is going to create a fabulous opportunity, and it's going to be when people get way too bullish on the newer PFP projects and way too bearish on punks, and it's probably not there yet. Luckily, they're still not under their low, so to say. I think they got down to 50s, so they bounced back a bit and are just maintaining their. And you know what I'm seeing now, because I follow that punk bot pretty close. Whether you own a punk or a Bored Ape, these are the Apples and Exxons of the NFT market, and they tend to determine what happens to the larger indexes, right? So watching them very closely, there's actually rare punks that are moving right now, and I suppose you could look at that two ways, like, people are finally letting go of their rare punks. Oh no, but they're not going for cheap either. A hoodie sold for 300 ETH the other day, which isn't. It's certainly under what it would have gotten earlier last year, but the people are going after rares while they're on sale. CryptoPunks aren't going anywhere. For all their stupidity, the one point they always made, which was true, is CryptoPunks don't ever need to do anything besides be CryptoPunks, and they'll be fine. There's no pressing need for some sort of new utility or a restructuring of the licensing agreement. All these trends are cyclical, and eventually punks will come back into fashion. Anytime something is this hated, it makes the contrarian in me start wanting to buy. That said, I think the cycle we're going to see is another ape pump, right, in the next few weeks, whether it's a celebrity or, we also have a lot of news coming from Bored Apes. We have their token to be announced. We have their play to earn game, which would be out on iOS. I mean, these are going to be very accessible and visible to your average person. So this could also start the apes are going to 100, and I don't know if it's this week, next week, or whatever. But what starts that run there? I believe once they hit 100 and people start selling apes, they're going to be buying cool cats, because now we got cats coming into cool pets, right? And all the wealthy are going to be told by their advisors and by MoonPay that, hey, yeah, you want an ape, but guess what? You also want one of these cats. Hey, they're cheaper. They got this big game coming out, and they're the next big thing, right? And then yesterday we saw the MoonPay wallet buy 2 serums, an M2 and an M1, and buy a cool cat. And they also bought.
What was the fourth thing in there? Oh yeah, okay. I actually didn't recognize it.
What the fuck is that for? Oh, it's a rug. So I think that we're going to see. Do you remember how the weeks leading up to the overall gigapump we saw, that apes and blue chips were moving like nothing else was moving? We were still all like, oh, it's all apes and blue chips and da-da-da. And that came down. Christmas came, we got the SOS, and then everything just, mooned something vicious. Well, I think that'll be the same, right? Everything's still going to be depressed. Well, we get another blue chip cycle kicked off. I think it'll start with apes. I think it'll end with cool cats. And then in February, it's all going to drip down into the smaller collections once again. So that's what I'm looking for. But yeah, crazy how much apes are moving away from punks. And I think it's only going to get more pronounced here.
Yeah, actually, so great segue into cats and cool pets. We've definitely talked about cool pets and what a cook that's going to be, but we actually never really talked about the price point that they set, and kind of the backlash that they faced from some people. For a little bit of context, they were giving away a lot of the pre-sale slots to these other communities. Lemons was a great example of this. I know MBHQ got some. Spoiler alert, Alphaman ended up getting a couple too, which was kind of a cool announcement last night in the DGen dojo, but we are working on the best and most fair way to distribute those. But they did all of these raffles, giveaways. Discords were having quests and random things to you win a spot. So much hype for it. And a lot of the people that partake in these kind of environments are the ones that are looking for, a good, cheap, palatable entry spot, newer to NFTs. They want some participation in these big brands, but are completely priced out of cool cats. And so it was very exciting for them to be able to grab one of these, to mint one of these, because you're never seeing Pranksy trolling discords to try and snag a couple of these spots so that he can get in. They're going to wait for the reveal and buy the ones that they want to and take their positions there, because that's an effective use of their time with the amount of money that they're sitting on. But for those people who are hoping for a cheap entrance point, after all of these were distributed, Cool Cats came out and said, yeah, we're going to do a 0.5 ETH mint. Well, to some people, that's not going to be a lot, right? It isn't. But to a newer participant in the ecosystem, maybe they're even new to crypto, so they haven't seen their 2017 or their 2014 bags just, skyrocket into unfathomable amounts of money. This can be a tough pill to swallow, right? All of a sudden you're like, oh, I gotta, potentially pay $2,000 to mint one of these. That's gonna set me back. And so there was a lot of backlash from those people saying, well, I can't even use this pre-sale slot anymore. And so Cool Cats is going ahead with it, but this is one of the spots where I think what Farouk did with the Rug Radio Pass was actually brilliant. He gave away a free mint for the pass. The pass was an NFT. You could sell it, you could trade it, or you could hold it and mint for the 0.111 that he decided the price would be. Now, if you didn't want to mint 0.111, or maybe your liquidity was low and you couldn't afford it, or maybe you didn't believe in the project and you just ended up with one of these, well, now you have the option to sell it. And they ran up to some pretty high numbers there. I think 0.35, 0.4 just for the passes at one point. That could be a great little win. Transfer that over to the idea of Cool Cats doing this. If they had given away a free mint pass for the rights to mint for 0.5 for the cool pets, I think that now all of a sudden this is a really cool function, because you get those people who can't spend 0.5 ETH on a single NFT mint. Now there's a good chance that these passes would be going for 0.6, 0.7 just for the rights to mint for 0.5. I know that if I ended up without a spot and this was available to me, I would probably spend 0.5 ETH on a mint pass just to be able to mint the cool pets, because I believe in it. I think anything that this brand touches is going to moon, whether be it in a couple weeks or a couple months. But I wish that this was something that they had done. I think 10 days away, or I guess 9 days at this point, being away from the launch, it's not going to happen. But I don't think that this is going to be brand damaging. I just think that this would have been a great thing for people newer to the space to participate. You win a whitelist, maybe you can't mint it, but hey, you made an extra $1,500 anyways.
Right, and I think that this is the debate that occurred directly after this announcement was really missing. Everyone was debating about different things for the right reasons. I would say everybody here was right and everybody here was wrong. The issue is their timing. They should have released the price before they did these raffles. Had they just said that it was going to be a 0.5 mint ahead of time, then I think most people who couldn't afford it wouldn't have even participated in the raffle. And if they did,
people spend a lot of time trying to get in too.
They do. And if they did, I don't think people would have anything to say right now, right? If you went into that raffle knowing it was 0.5 and then you won and you didn't have it, that's on you. You're not going to go complain on Twitter. You know what decisions you made, right? But they put these raffles out. And we all know when we're thinking about a new mint, everyone's thinking, between 0.05 and 0.1, at most 0.2. So this is what's in everybody's head. And you win this spot, you felt like you won something. Holy shit, I won something from Cool Cats. Well, a ton of people won the right to not be able to afford to mint this thing. So that's bad optics for Cool Cats. They could have run it better. But is this expensive? Not even remotely expensive. This is priced very cheaply for the potential that it has. And to your point, it would be very interesting to see these Cool Pets mint passes on the open market, because as we know with CloneX, those mint passes should be 1-for-1 with what the perceived price would be. And we think the perceived price on Cool Pets is going to be 2 to 3 ETH each. So I would have expected those passes to get to 2 to 3, or maybe slightly unders to entice people a small premium into doing it. But that's what I think would have happened here. And by that measure, this is extremely cheap. They're leaving so much money on the table. They could have priced these at 1 and still given everybody a cook, right? And this is not your average team. This is Cool Cats. They are beloved. They are supported by traditional mainstream corporate entities like Time Magazine. They have merchandise, they have deals, they have licensing. There's so much coming for them that people want them to be funded. People want them to have a treasury. This is them doing a public capital raise, and anybody who's a fan of Cool Cats should be happy to pay 0.5, because not only are you filling your coffers, you're also getting an automatic cook and something that's going to give you a 4x right off the bat. So this is not expensive in those terms, but it is expensive to people who think they won something and now can't afford to buy it. So that's where I think they just made, and you can it's very hard to fault them. I mean, as somebody who's helping on numerous projects right now, there are so many variables and you're dependent on so many different people. People are human beings. It's hard to get everybody in line 100% of the time doing everything right without any miscommunication. So I don't fault the team. In retrospect, that would have been the better way to do it. So I think it's just a lesson for any project that finds themselves in a similar situation going forward.
Yeah. Just a kind of a real life parallel. I'm going to reference our beloved Canadian Tim Hortons.
Timmy.
And Timmy's, yeah. So every year or twice a year, they do roll up the rim. And if you guys don't know that, it's the rim of the coffee cup. You roll it up and you win a prize. I don't know, donuts, coffee, free coffee, sometimes gift card for something. But every year they have 20, 25 cars that they're giving away. One year early on in their inception, the misstep that they made was that you didn't actually win the car. They were going to pay for the lease for the car for 3 years, right? Now that's great. You get a new car and the payments are paid for. That seems great. But the perception was you were winning a car, right? And so all of a sudden, people win this car. They're like, no, it's not your car. We're just paying for the car, and then you have to give it back at the end. Well, now you got to sink maintenance fees into it. You got to sink gas into it. There's insurance on it and all of that stuff. And again, sure, free car. You don't have to pay anything for it. That's great. But the winning that prize was actually a negative EV proposition of you're receiving something that you have to spend more money than maybe you're comfortable on, especially if you're talking about a $80,000 car that they're giving you, and now all of a sudden your insurance is expensive and you can't pay for that shit.
It was the Oprah controversy. Remember when Oprah gave away, you get a car, that was, everyone got a $10,000 tax bill. Congratulations and thank you, right? Well,
yes, exactly.
This is really, it's just something you have to consider. And this doesn't, I think Cool Pets is going to be not just one of the better cooks of this month, but just a pleasure of a project. I think we're all going to love the NFTs, love the game. And, anyone who gets to participate in it, that's going to be great. And I just want a big shout out to Jake Udell and Bex at the Cool Cats team, who's going to be getting Alpha Mint, some Cool Pets spots. Stay tuned for that, how those are going to be distributed. I wanted to answer a couple questions that showed up in the chat. First, Joshua, do you think there is a ceiling for apes, or they'll just rise continually? So My thought is that as apes really come into the popular culture, like, let's say Kendall Jenner buys one and all the mainstream media picks it up, they're not going to be quoting that ape in ETH. They're going to be saying that Kendall Jenner bought a 200,000 or whatever it is. In my mind, I don't think there's a ceiling on apes till we get to $1 million, because just my gut and just knowing how like these media and attention cycles work, and frankly how much money these wealthy people have. If you were going to become a member at Maidstone Country Club or at one of these higher end countries, you'd be paying upwards of $500,000 a year, not a one-time lifetime membership for $1 million. We're talking $500,000 a year, not what you also spend on the club at the club for its services, which are not included in that, right? So the idea that you get all these benefits for $1 million plus the greatest online flex that there is, I actually think, now I don't know whether that means it's going to be 200 ETH or 350 ETH, but I do believe that Bored Apes are going to get to $1 million before they see any type of sustained downtrend.
Yeah. What's that in ETH terms? That's probably about 300 ETH, right?
That's what I was going to say. And I don't know whether it's going to be 200 ETH when ETH is 5,000 next year, or whether it's going to be 300 ETH when it's 3,000 this year. But I do believe there will be a point where just the value proposition in the mainstream media is you buy this $1 million ape as a lifetime membership to this country club. And quite frankly, that's a deal for the type of wealthy people that would pay it. The other one that I thought was a great question from Shub. So if I had 80 Ether right now to spend on NFTs, and the only condition was that I can't buy stuff I already have a position in. So that means I could buy one ape or a punk and a couple cool cats, or a bunch of cool cats, 6 cool cats. I think right now I'd go with 6 cool cats. I think they are the most...
I was fully convinced you were going to say I would sell all of my lemons and then just go ham on it.
No, I would buy 6 cool cats right now, because I think that it is the most undervalued project relative to its mainstream potential. Do you know what I think has held cool cats back up to this point? Is celebrity adoption. I think cool cats are more of the inside NFT project. Like, them a lot more if you're in NFTs. And I think that they're going to be really appealing to the type of celebrities that are more like the Heather Grahams of the world. And, like the ones who don't want to drip with diamonds. They're more demure. They like the cool, kind of cute, funky things. Like, Bored Apes, it's a flex. Like, you're a hype boy or whatever. Cool cats, they're the wholesome, like, we're fun, we're goofy, but we're also worth $50,000 NFTs. So I actually think cool cats could be appealing to just as many celebrities as Bored Apes. And I think the reason they haven't gotten into that, 20, 30, 50 ETH stratosphere is just because they haven't gotten there yet, and they will this year.
Yeah. I would say I would sprinkle it between the cool cats and doodles, just like Penguin said. I love the doodles too. I think that the stylistically and where they could go is just is incredible, in the potential for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I am short-term bearish on doodles only because I thought they were going to get to 10 ETH from 2. They got there. And, I'd say your biggest bull case there is that this is as beloved a whale project as there's ever been. This is their darling. This is their baby. And I certainly am not bearish on its prospects in the medium or long term. But I do think it was the biggest blue chip beneficiary of the last cycle. So I would be looking to the ones that did, even cryptodes. Who the hell talks about crypto? I was just thinking about them the other day. No one's talked about them so much that, maybe yeah.
I would say, like, I love your point about cool cats being like the more like down to earth, relatable. It's not that flashy, make a splash, I'm buying Bored Apes or CryptoPunks, and it's definitely going to resonate with a certain subset of people. I think doodles in a similar way are like that, but maybe a little bit more memey, and we all know how well memes do. But I agree with you that doodles kind of got a little frothy, and that ascent could not continue indefinitely. I think both of those brands, Cool Cats and Doodles, are going to be looked back upon in 3-5 years time as that, like, you know, almost like the Americana of NFTs, right? Like the Pepsis, the things that people just, those brands that are beloved by the masses. And I think that Cool Cats and Doodles are just going to fit that so well.
I do think by the end of the year, Cool Cats and Doodles will be in the same conversation as Apes and Punks, even more than they are now. I think they are going to get above those 20, 30 ceilings, and we're just going to be talking about them as automatic, obvious blue chips. I know we kind of do already, but
definitely, you know, they fit the profile. They check all of the boxes in that regard for sure. So great.
Yeah,
great
Doodles
questions.
is already cooled off. Kenneth was just pointing out that Doodles was below 10 this morning. I think they got up to hey, no floor has been immune as far as I could see on my charts here. This has been, you know, everything's down a minimum of 20, 30%, if not more. So I don't think Doodles are doing bad at all here. They're just they're feeling it with everyone else.
And hey, just hitting that 10 ETH floor is a huge accomplishment. So a little bit of a pullback is there's nothing wrong with that.
And hey, Joshua, I love your vibes. You want to flip your cool pet for a Genesis Kaiju? I love that. You know, I picked Kaiju as my, you know, favorite pick of the year as far as the one that I think will be talked about as the next potential blue chip. So yeah, I love that move. We love the Kaijus. Shout out Dots.
Yeah, for sure. I wish that I had got in on that Kaiju Discord. It's been a very high price the whole time, and I guess you can get in with the Kaiju babies, but I love the Genesis ones for sure.
I feel like people in Kongs and Anonymice, and I know we have a lot of them in the Kaiju Alpha room, but they would be surprised at how good the vibe is, because it's not just good alpha, but those guys like to mess around in a good way. Like I think that people would like the vibe in there a lot. So.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things from anybody that's been a part of that. We got a couple more things that we're going to touch on real quick here. I'm going to throw the Restream link into the AM show chat for the Moon Lounge members if you want to come up here and hang with us. But you know, if you want to keep asking questions in the chat too, we'd love to see it, and it's a great way to you know, interact with us. So I appreciate that. Real quickly, Metroverse public sale is minting today. This has been quite a cook. Last time I checked, it was at a 0.7 floor. It's cooled off a little bit to 0.635 or 0.619. Does OpenSea update in real time now? This is a 0.1 mint. There's 10,000 of these, and there's only about 500 left for the public sale. So I'm going to say this: unless you are experienced using bots and understand how they work, I wouldn't personally be trying to do this manually. This is such a high price point compared to the mint price and such a low supply. This is where people get burned. So I mean, you know, do I have the liquidity to participate in this? Yes. Do I have the bot to participate in it? No. I'm going to be sitting on the sidelines watching this, but this looks great. This is kind of what I think the LandDAO should have been if they reveal anything like their pre-reveal screen is. LandDAO revealed a couple days ago, and it was a bit underwhelming and has really kind of taken a fall from grace. But Metroverse is looking to be a seriously hot cook, and I don't know if you ended up getting in on any of these as pre-sale.
No. I didn't.
No.
I think that you and I are both huge fans of these little pieces of land and these little apartments or studios and things you can buy. And these look as good as any. I'm so curious to see how these get plugged into the larger metaverses we're all excited about. I think the hottest one of this last cycle has been World Wide Web 3, which has seen so many cool parties and all sorts of events, races, and, you know, even as here's a little alpha for the Alpha Mint morning show, while Cenarius has been a little coy about exactly which metaverses the lemons would hook into first, if you go look at their treasury wallet, they bought some World Wide Web 3 apartments and land. So I think
definitely on brand for them too. That cool art style stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that these land plays, they're really cool. They're such Sim City vibes from when we were younger, and they're both nostalgic and kind of speak to this land grab that's going on right now. I'll tell you one floor that doesn't even blink at the macro situation is that sandbox land floor. Man,
Yeah,
it is
wow.
just Teflon there at whatever price it's just stable. Just like there is just no land available. It is one of the more stable NFTs out there. You rarely see that floor get undercut, and I think this trend's going to accelerate. That's very cool stuff. I know a bunch of people in Alpha Mint were in on that, so I'm hoping that one cooks even further. I remember NanoPass, everyone was so excited about, got up to like 1.7.
Yeah, I wonder what that's doing these days.
No, that one pulled back.
Yeah, a lot.
People like 0.5 or 0.6, I think last time I looked. Yeah, there was a question about the kaijus. So the kaiju babies and the kaiju genesis are in the same collection. So when you make a baby, which is you fuse two kaijus and burn 750 R waste, which is the native token that the genesis kaijus create. So that is the main distinguishing utility right now between the babies and the Genesis kaijus. If you go to the properties and filter it down to the Genesis, you'll see they're sitting at about 3.54 ETH last time I looked. So they're, roughly 3 times what the babies tend to go for.
Yeah. Going back to the Metroverse, what I realized I really love about them, and maybe this is just like me personally. Obviously, there's the SimCity kind of nostalgia involved in it, but I really love like living in metro area, like high rises, these big cities, right? Like the city I live in is relatively big, but like Toronto is one. I got to get to New York sometime because I'm sure I will just fall in love with it. But it almost reminds me of like being up in a high rise, like the 30th, 40th floor, sitting out on the balcony and just like watching the life of the city, right? Like you see the cars, the people walking around, lights, like all of that stuff. Like there's just something like so incredible I find about it. And I think that's, partially why I'm so drawn to these things too. Is just there's like just such an incredible amount of detail in that stuff, just like in a real city, right? Like you can walk around the same streets and notice something new all of the time.
Yeah, definitely. They nailed it.
Yeah. White Rabbit's minting today too. 0.13 floor is a 0.08 mint. Important to remember that the pre-sale minted for 0.06 ETH in gas. So the entry point and where the floor is sitting at is a little bit juicier. It's dropping a little bit juicier than it will be if you're public minting. I don't have a ton of context on this other than like it's kind of like sort of cute, sort of attitude-y kind of 3D style bunnies. So if anybody's participating in that, love to hear more about it. But I don't think that this is going to be a giant gas war. More than half the supply remains, and it's not an immediate guaranteed flip for anybody there. The last two things that we are looking at is the Azuki and the Lil Heroes that we both or we've mentioned on previous shows. Lil Heroes holding about a 2 ETH floor. Azuki crossed over that 3 ETH floor. Both are pre-reveal, and I personally think that this is too long of a pre-reveal duration. Like I really think that these projects benefit from that 48 hours. Let everybody shift around, let it play out, and then let the chips fall where they may. But I mean, they're both the recipients of huge volume being traded, almost 15,000 for Azuki and 8,000 for Lil Heroes. But what do you think happens with these?
Well, this is a known artist, right? And
Lil
both of
Heroes.
these,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Both of these are actually known artists. I'm not as familiar with Azuki, but it's a known street artist, right? And this is one of my mini trends this year as known artists. I think one of the biggest risks to collections that you own from the last 3 years is that it was a lot of crypto teams moving into art, or a lot of crypto teams moving into gaming, right? Now that the structures are there, we're talking about world-class artists with big brands and known IP moving into this game, and it's going to overshadow a lot of the stuff we love. And I think that so many of them are just going to be instant returns if you can get in on that allow list, because these people have built-in fan bases, and it's reflected in the mint prices, in the secondary prices afterwards. Look at Stapleverse yesterday. You got Edgar Plums here as well, and then we had Azuki with the street artist, and they're all holding a pretty nice floor. Now, what happens after reveal is probably going to be pretty typical, I would say, in these projects, but I don't think they'll fall below mint. And I think if you're holding them for the long term, you don't even really care.
Yeah. When is the reveal on these? Do we know when Azuki...
This would be one of those, like, is it this year or next year jokes? Because it's been like really long for Azuki. I believe it's going to be this week. I'm not sure about Lil Heroes.
Yeah, we got to try and hold like a live spaces for these too. That was pretty fun. We did it for Caprix, which was a little underwhelming, but I think the Azuki drop is going to bring a lot to talk about, and I think we're going to see some huge sales on those too. You want to do a little over under bet on the post reveal 24-hour high sale?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably see a 50 ETH sale.
50 ETH. You know what? I'm gonna take an over. I'm gonna take it over on this.
Over?
Yeah, I'm gonna take an over.
Possible.
Yeah, I mean, three ETH floor. 50 ETH is about 13x. I think we could cross that threshold for a one of one with the hype around it, and I think the kind of brand that they're trying to build. I could definitely see someone splashing around in that.
Cool. I'll take the under.
I think it's a great line, though. I mean, it's definitely not like 50 ETH is a couple $100,000. No, again, math, $150,000, I guess, with today's ETH prices. So, yeah, not nothing for sure. So,
if one goes for 40 or 60, it was a good line. If one sells for 120, I was missing something.
Yeah, for sure. That was a lot of fun when we did that for Mecca. I think, was it Mecca, where we put the old
they had to throw a wrench
on...
into it. Like, no bet could ever be simple. It could never just be a simple, like, yep, you won. No, there's always a contingency.
Yeah, for sure. All right. On that note, let's bring Josh up on stage. I thank you for your patience, my friend. I am going to step away from the computer very, very briefly, but I'll let you you hang out with Josh for a couple minutes, and I will be right back.
Yay, I get to hang out with Josh.
You got it.
Hey, GM, FMC.
GM, sir. Wonderful. How about you?
Oh, doing all right. Waking up, caffeinating, all the good stuff.
That's good. Yeah, I got my second coffee in hand. What you up to today? What are we thinking about?
Oh man, lots to think about. I did a nice little PFP just for you. It's hard to see on the size, but that is a bona fide, genuine pothead right there.
Oh my God! Wow. Well, this is an absolute honor. If you guys haven't checked out Shroom Heads, this is a project by none other than Curious Josh, who is here right now. We love them, and wow, I am honored. Thank you. If you guys don't know, there are rumors that I may be a pothead. So this is a very, my Shroom Head is me. I am my Shroom Head. My Shroom Head is me.
I love it. As someone who,
cool. Thank you, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to get that. Thank you.
We're gonna get one over to you at some point here ASAP. As someone from deep in the Emerald Triangle, I appreciate it.
Yes,
okay, so something I was thinking about, and you probably have a great perspective on this. I've been wondering about, like, for me, I started in crypto, and that then it kind of bled into NFTs. So early kind of crypto days stuff, got in on Ripple, and then that slowly turned into something years later, went a little bit deeper with ETH, and then eventually learned about NFTs and got into it that way. So some of the very small amount of capital I had from crypto flowed into NFTs. But now I'm feeling like NFTs have more sort of mainstream interest or adoption. I know obviously there's a lot of negative sentiment, but like it seems like that flow might be switching directions. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that, or if I have it totally backwards.
I've told my story a few times that I was shown Bitcoin in 2009. I laughed at it. I told my friend it'd be stupid to invest in it. I mean, we're talking, it was under a penny, if I remember correctly. This was very cheap at the time. Obviously,
dude, you were a
Bitcoin
poker degen. Why didn't you just throw a couple $100 into that?
I was literally I was basically only playing poker at the time. And I even thought to myself, I should put $5,000 in it. Why not? And I didn't. So,
do the math
there
on
we
that.
are. Yeah. But I like to think that if I had done that, maybe I would have become a Bitcoin maxi and missed Ethereum and NFTs. So it was all for the better. But I was poking around DeFi summer of 2019. I discovered a coin called Rarible. And then when I dug deep, I learned about NFTs. It's actually what got me into crypto. And as I dug deep and as I got taken over by these NFTs, I had the thought, I said, this is what crypto is for. This is the Trojan horse that is actually going to get crypto into the lives of the average person. And I'll tell you, it was not normal people who made fun of me back then. It was crypto natives. It was people who were into, and I'm not just talking about Bitcoin, we're talking Ethereum. Most people who loved Ethereum thought that NFTs brought the whole cause down, that it was distracting people from the DeFi nirvana that we were all shooting for, that they were a Ponzi. That was everyone would tell you, NFTs are a Ponzi, and these were people in the crypto world. But I contended that this is what mainstream adoption will look like. This is the most appealing value proposition that crypto has ever made to the average person. I think it's dead on. I think that's going to be the theme of 2022, is that crypto is going to get into people's lives. A lot of time they're not even going to know it's crypto. They're just going to be told there's this thing, NFT. My favorite TV show or my favorite whatever is putting it out. It's on the internet, so it's easy for me to buy. I'm going to buy it. That's all they're going to think. They're not going to go deep. They're going to be like, what really is it? Is it real estate? Do I actually own the JPEG? No. It's going to be like, oh, it's Naruto. I'm buying it. I don't even care. Like, this is what I think is going to happen. I think that DeFi gets to take a backseat to NFT for the next couple of years, as it is really what onboards most people into NFTs. I think you're spot on with that, Josh.
Super interesting. Yeah, it's interesting, the dynamics in this market, right? Like early crypto people, I experienced that too with NFTs. I mean, when I first heard about them, and I mean, even with crypto, I was really doubtful. I happened to put a little bit in early on, and that was great. Nothing massive. I was a broke college student at the time, so it didn't go anywhere. But
yeah,
there was some resistance even amongst the crypto community for NFTs, and a similar sort of sentiment to what you see now with people who are outside the crypto community altogether, just the normies of the world. Super interesting. Okay, one other question. Thinking about LooksRare, thinking about the theoretical limit of the growth of that coin, right? We're at what? We topped out around $6 today.
It is it's pushing $6 right now to close a candle. Yeah,
just made a new all-time high at 650, pulled back a little. Yeah.
What are you looking at?
That puts the market cap really high.
Is this like some weird currency conversion? Like, are you not in USD? Are you in like the British pound
Between
or
this
something?
and magic, we're just not going to trust my quotes, my price quotes on the show. We'll let Cobain.
He like rings the bell. He's like 650. You're like, it is at 698 right, or 598 right now. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyways, sorry, Josh.
Sorry, Josh. Market cap.
So this, just
million.
850 million. So for I just like, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Like, what theoretically is the upper limits of where Looks can go, right? Because I do think it's going to push that upper limit just on hype alone. But I don't know. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this. Do I think it could go beyond $10? Yeah, probably.
Oh my god!
But like once we get into,
I literally said this morning.
Million,
oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go for it.
I literally said to Free Market this morning, like, how is this coin not $20 already? Like, I don't think that $10 is an upper limit personally. Maybe short term, like that would get a really kind of like steep. But I'm actually going to let free market tackle this first. I just wanted to point out that like I really do think that this is still low. This is like a
Right.
buy
And
for me.
now, fully diluted value is 5.9 billion right now. Now, that would mean that all the
Yep.
coins have been distributed and are floating freely on the market, which people like to point out that metric about why something is too expensive, but I don't think it matters. I think really the tradable market cap is what matters in the moment. Short-term event here is we have the lockup in 24 days. So if we're wondering where the short-term price could peak out, I would guess it would be a few days before that 24-day period we're talking about. So maybe 20 or 21 days from now, you will see traders who are focusing more on the actual asset value start to take profits there. Now, where it could get up to that point, well, people know that OpenSea is a $13 billion valuation. And human beings are simple creatures. They go look at that market cap number and they go, well, I bet it could be a percentage of that, whether it's, 10%, whether it's 50%, I don't know. But I think that easily could get close to that $10 billion mark on hype alone, as we just said. Now, what's really interesting about Looks is that unlike every other coin that crypto has ever produced, we actually have traditional metrics to value this thing. We can look at its revenue. We could look at how much distribution is going on to its shareholders or its token holders, and we could come up with an actual growth rate and apply traditional valuation metrics to this. You can't do that with governance tokens, even the best governance tokens we have. So
even just like the return on investment in terms of your WETH, right? Like even if you got 20% a year in WETH, and it's way higher than that right now, like that would be like anybody in the traditional markets would buy this and reap their juicy dividends, like like crazy, right? Until the point where that got pushed down to that 5 or 6%. I think
there's two things. There's only two possibilities that are happening here. This is either too good to be true, which is possible. We all get swept up in these hype cycles. I literally try to come up with the bear case every day. I'm not trying to be blind on this, but I'll be honest, it's hard. Right? So the only thing that I think really is the impediment here is whether they can, we're going to see a big dip in how much WETH we earn after the wash trading period is over. But I think the customer acquisition thing here was very powerful. I think people will happily use it if the UX improves. So upper limit until then, I do think it could get, somewhere between $5 and $10 billion, but it's very hard to say. So I have thought in my head $25 to $30 is possible before this cycle is over. I don't think I'll be selling when it gets there, but I really don't know, because if it really does hit that target perfectly, it could be beneficial to just take half out, wait for it to have its pullback, and put it right back in, right?
When you're saying that market cap, are you talking fully diluted or
no? So right now we're at 858 million. So I think that it could definitely 10x, possibly from here, anywhere from 5 to 10x
perfect.
from here.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, I would have been surprised to hear you think that, like, if you're talking the diluted market cap,
it'd be a double
at $10. Yeah, but I'm in full agreement with you. I mean, I food for thought, like always, like I pull up like the CoinGecko sorted by market cap, and you start to see like some of these projects that have $10 billion in market cap, and it's like, okay, like crypto.com coin, like could LooksRare be more important than crypto.com coin? I think so. So now you start to say, well, $11 billion, where does it go from there? I mean, that's awfully similar to what free market was just saying with that $10 billion market cap. Like, I don't see why, if this is a highly used platform with lots of volume on it and lots of people bullish on it, that it can't break into that top 15, top 10 in it, because frankly, like, it's already better than XRP ever has been. Like, this is just a shit coin through and through, and it's sitting there at a $35 billion market cap, with the founders holding like 50% of the supply that's not locked up. It's crazy.
Hey, I hate XRP, but they made me some money early on.
No, and that's fine. That's
gotta
great. You know what? It was one of my first really, really great trades too. I got into like 10 cents and exited at like $1 something, and I was like, "Whoa, 10x is cool." Then promptly watched it go up to 350, but it's never gotten back to that point. And it's just it's incredulous to me that it's still there. And you have something like LooksRare, which is a legitimate contender to a platform that's going to go into the public market and probably be worth $20 to $50 billion there. Like, why can't this in the crypto sphere be somewhere in the $35 billion range? And I think the answer is it absolutely can. And that's not just me trying to hype up how much money I'm going to make or whatever. I think that the real use case is there and it's sitting right in front of you. It's already paying those rewards. None of this is roadmap. None of this is promise. Like the proof is in the pudding and it's happening right now, and it's very hard to ignore that.
Yeah. Hey, one follow-up question, just because I think this will be useful to listeners too. When we talk about staking on LooksRare and the APR, whatever the return is on it, I think it's good for people to understand that fluctuates, and that's something that I kind of, I kind of wrapped my head around. I didn't go in thinking I was going to get 1,000% on this thing forever. But I think people should know that, like, just because you get in when it says 775% APR doesn't mean that's what you're going to get on it forever.
This is a variable rate. It is not a fixed rate. And the more people who stake, it goes down. The price of ETH affects it. The price of Looks affects your final APR. There's quite a few variables in. You shouldn't break your head over with the math. The real thing to focus on is the revenues here. If we can get revenues to be the same post wash trading, you'll still be getting that much WETH per week. And that's the angle here, right? Like if all these coins drop to 10 cents, but you could still stake them and earn, $1,000 in WETH every week, I would leave it, right? That's mailbox money. So
yeah. They've really set this up that it almost behooves you from all angles to actually just use the platform and turn this into something big. Like, even if you haven't had Looks staked or you sold it already, there's a great value proposition in actually just using the platform to trade. If you have Looks staked, there's a huge value proposition to keep it staked because it's continually paying out. And on top of that, again, use the platform, right? So all of the funnels kind of point towards using the platform is going to be more beneficial for you than doing anything else. Now, again, we talk about how active it is, and it does need to kind of break that critical mass before it's very, very easy to just hop onto LooksRare over OpenSea and use it. But again, it's all in the usage of the platform. Like, there's a very clear value proposition that is being presented here.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And we'll see how it all goes. But I definitely, I'm one of the many people who started their first collection on OpenSea using the default OpenSea collection or default OpenSea contract, not realizing
so it's locked on there.
Locked in. Yeah. And so as
we just had that conversation with our own little project.
It's brutal, man. And it's brutal. Moving over is a nightmare, like trying to move from one contract to another without massive gas fees is basically impossible. So yeah, anyway, this is much needed. Very happy about it. Very excited and bullish on it. And, yeah, good stuff.
Cool, man. Thanks. Do you have anything else or?
That's all I got. If you guys have other guests to come up.
Do you see Josh's PFP today, Cobain?
Yeah, drugs.
Yeah, guess what? That's my PFP.
That's
it for me?
Yep. Right click saved?
No, you said that. He's giving it to me.
It's going into the wallet. Direct to the wallet. I gotta get your wallet address too, by the way, man. DM me.
I will. Yeah. That's super sick. I love it. No, man. For those of you that don't know, Josh is an incredible artist, and he's got his Shroom Heads and the Curios project up on OpenSea, so you should go check that out. All right, we got some questions going on in chat that I want to get to. First, from like Jurassic Forest is, have we heard of Angry Ape Army? That was one that we talked about some time ago on the show. I think it probably a couple months ago now. Do you remember this one, Free Market?
Did we like it?
I think in terms of like the art style of it and whatnot, yeah, I think so.
Is this the guy that did Planet of the Apes?
It was something along that lines, yeah. The website was really good. It was a really like hotly contested drop. I think
Yeah,
I
I
just
remember
barely
it.
missed out on the whitelist for it, but I did want to get in on this and actually checking in on it. A 2.3
Yeah,
ETH floor,
Jesus.
incredible.
You want to hear this? So
Yeah, I do.
they give me,
Let's hear it.
I got whitelist in this project,
Oh
right?
no.
But you had to like go in and contact the mod, and this is, first of all, that's always the worst way to set these things. Like telling people to like go in and contact the mod in a crowded Discord when they're auto programmed to not listen to people. But whatever. I had to go in and tell the mod, and he kept going, all right, yeah, just DM me the proof of da 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 da. And he had his DMs off, and I couldn't DM him. And I
Yeah.
kept saying, yo, I can't DM you. And he was like, no, don't worry. I just opened them. And I tried again. And it was so frustrating. I left. And look at that. I missed out on $7,000. Lovely. So, no,
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I would have minted that too if I had been in on it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, this
look good.
Felt like
they look good.
First, yeah, they look pretty good. This felt like the first project from one of these like Warner Brothers Disney artists, but it was before it was like a trend that was being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
They're at least unique. They look kind of cool. I don't know. That's an interesting one there. They seem like they'll do okay. I do remember that project. I know somebody also asked about Hate Beast, and this one we should talk about, because it is minting later today.
That's right, yeah.
And I am very, very cold on this one. And I am not going to make a price prediction because the market tends to prove us wrong in those senses. The Instagram popular projects tend to suck in outside money for some reason because of how they're marketed. But this one to me feels like it could be the peak of all of these manufactured 3D hype projects. The art is very good, but the art is very good on all of these projects. And it just seems that this one has manufactured all their hype, that it's not natural. And I say that because the people in NFTs who I believe cause the real pumps, because they're known as market makers and holders, haven't mentioned this at all. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe we're going to see that whale watching light up and they just haven't talked about it. But we've seen so many projects like this that it's kind of slick looking 3D art that says it's by a known artist, but the only way this artist was known was that he worked on Planet of the Apes. And and in Hate Beast's case, I couldn't even find out who the artist was. So I just feel like this could be the top of that bubble where people are expecting these to be 5 and 6 ETH on the secondary. Are they worth that? I mean, I don't know. I don't think this project is going to do well post reveal. So it's possible that there is so much hype here, it gets a similar Mecca effect where we see a very, very high floor price pre-reveal. But I don't know. I can't imagine it holds it. Maybe I'm wrong here.
I'm getting an Azuki level on this. I think I think Azuki is a better project personally. I tend to agree with you. Like these hyper realistic things are getting overplayed, but every time we say that, it's just like continues to be wrong. I do think that they're better than most. I can't deny that. But yeah, there is something about the hype. I think that these are going to mint. Definitely see them climb up to, I shouldn't say definitely. I wouldn't be surprised to see them climb up to like a 2 ETH pre-reveal with just some like hype going on. But these projects, you mentioned being big on Instagram and all of that. There is something about them that really attracts a new audience too. Do you remember like we talked about it a couple times, that crypto champions? There's something that like just like people look at them and go, oh, this is really high quality, it must be good. Good means floor price is going to go up, and then I think some people end up getting a little bit burned on them. But I do think that it is it does really attract like a new group of people into going down the rabbit hole. So I, whether or not this project does well, I hope that it's is a good ambassador of NFTs into those spaces.
But people keep talking about this one being so hyped, it's the next liquidity suck. I just don't see it. Like, I don't know if you were around for Mecca, everybody listening, but like the entire NFT world stopped. No, we were all sitting there watching one thing. It was the Super Bowl of NFTs. It was all anyone talked about for days leading up and days after. Every single player in the game was buying those things pre-reveal. This is why the Mecca effect that we now know as the Mecca effect occurred. I don't see that with hype. I see if these are successful, I feel like it's a little closer to Primal Apes. The only difference with Primal Apes is I don't think anyone expected that cook. Those did well when it felt like out of nowhere. Whereas Hate Beast feels like even if it does well, it's pulled all that surprise forward. So whatever it's going to do, it's probably going to do immediately after mint. And I would anticipate it falling after that, as I just don't think you'll see the influencer demand that we did for Mecca. I don't think it's the same level of hype. Art's great. I even said it, yes, you can't deny, as it's good art. It's great art. I mean, I just don't, I still wonder if you put this in a PFP along with all the other hyper realistic projects, would you be able on quick glance to tell them apart? Bored Apes stand out. They just do. And, I'm sure that's an effect of them being, just pummeled in our face for the last year and being the most recognizable icon of our industry. But there's something to be said for like the simplicity and boldness of a 2D PFP that I'm not sure works in these hyper realized ones, except maybe for Clonex. I think that these are at least a little more plasticine, which I think works very well for 3D, but I'm curious to see. I haven't seen one Primal Ape in the PFP bubble. I haven't seen one. What was that AAA one? An Angry Ape Army or something? I haven't seen one of those. I'm perplexed at how these things have a 3 ETH floor, and I've never seen one person rocking them. Like, what is that? That's crazy.
Yeah, I saw NFT Goals as saying this is Mechaverse ×2. I'm gonna just respectfully disagree with that, and I appreciate your comment in saying that. If I go back in time to Mechaverse, maybe I'm too like in just alpha mint or whatever, but like in the NFT, like this is something that captivated the entire NFT space. Like Free Market said, everyone kind of held their breath, everyone stood still to see what was happening with Mecha, and I'm not getting the same vibes from Hate Beast. I know that it's very culty. It's obviously got a huge following, but there's something about it that's not standing out as like all eyes on this. Clonex was the last great example of it. It was all eyes in the NFT world on or what's going on with Clonex. And Mechaverse was the last one to kind of capture that. Mechaverse was pretty close to Clonex, if I think, in terms of just captive audience. Maybe I'm not in the right spots, but I haven't seen it for this. That being said, right. I'm not saying that it's not going to be good. Like I'm willing to put my reputation on the line that these are going to be well above mint price and probably, stay above mint price for a very long time, if not indefinitely. That's not what I'm saying. And I don't think that's what Free Market is saying. I do not feel like it's had this captivation in the way that Mecha and Clonex did.
And I don't know anything about this community, NFT Goals. You could be completely right. This could be a crazy, culty community that doesn't list anything because they love this project so much. I have no clue. I really don't know. But if we're talking about like Mecha levels of hype, I think the next one is Invisible Friends. I think that every whale, everyone, that is going to be a very desired project. I think you're going to see the same type of price action that we saw with Mecha. I think those could get to like 6.5 ETH, 7 ETH pre-reveal. Though My gut tells me it won't be the same, aftermarket reaction because the art will be good. But I thought the same with Mecha, so I'm holding all. And I thought Cat Bricks was going to be so great that they went up. So I'm just going to, hold my judgment back till I see those commons. And the ape, the Apes look good. I just don't know whether they're PFP good. I want to see. I want to see people rocking them in their PFPs.
From a pure art standpoint perspective, this picture encapsulates a lot to me of why I would be very nervous about it. Now, I know that this is just a marketing thing. They've taken specific coloring to really make it stand out. The oranges, the dark back, the blacks on it, and then the white in the fur coat really pops against it. So this is just marketing, okay? And I'm fully willing to admit that. My biggest concern, if you were participating in this, is that this is what the OpenSea page looks like, right? You see a line of hate beasts, and it's just like dark, non-detailed, dark, non-detailed, dark, non-detailed, a little bit of detail, and then you know what I mean? There's almost no differentiation of it. Obviously, a lot of their other stuff that they've shown has much different color palettes and schemes and whatnot, which is great. They need to have that. But if the OpenSea floor page looks like this, all of them lined up like that, it's not going to. I don't think that the response is going to be fantastic.
It just won't sustain that hype.
Yeah. People want unique PFPs, and most people cannot afford to go shopping for rares to get them, right? So you have to mint it, and you have to be happy with the one you mint. And if you're not, you might sell. So that's where I'm angling for this to maybe my hope for them, and my hope for anybody that's minting this, is that the floor of the OpenSea page does not look like this lineup.
And Mecha was a very successful mint. Like, if you remove what happened post, pre-reveal and then post-reveal, what is it sitting at? 5 or 6x mint? And I'm sure Hate Beast would be exactly the same. It's minting at 0.2. I don't think it'll ever get close to 0.2. I think no matter what happens, it's going to crash down to like 5 or 10 times whatever the bid price was. So how could you call that a failure or something someone would not want to do? If you're on this whitelist, I would mint it happily and not even, think about it. But I 100%. Definitely, right. But, when analyzing, because this is really, this market is a pre-reveal market, right? Like, everyone's trying to figure out what to do pre-reveal. And the only reason is because every once in a while, there are these projects that nail it and go up, and no one wants to lose that lotto ticket if this one is it. So that's what we're always kind of sitting there watching on these reveals. And if they look like all the colorful, varied, fun, amazing traits like we see in all the previews, yes. If it's one line of apes and black clothing and all the commons just kind of have that look, I don't know whether they're going to be as PFP-able as they'd like. So we'll see. I'm curious. My bigger comment is on this meta of the 3D modeling with artists that claim they're known because they had good jobs before. It feels contrived, right? It feels like rich people going, hey, get me the best project manager, get me the best artist, get me the da-da-da-da. What's the current meta? Apes, good. What's the current meta? 3D, good. Smash it together. And hell, we know how slick corporations and wealthy entities can make marketing look. They put lipstick on a pig, and what do they sell you? So that's where I'm hesitant. I feel like we've had all these what I would consider low effort quality projects leading up to this one that looks like it's everything, and it just feels like in those situations you can get the sell the news type of thing. So that's what I'm on the lookout for with Hate Beast. 1 hour and 38 minutes now going for that mint. That'll be 1 p.m. Eastern for anyone on the whitelist or anyone who dares bot that public.
I wanted to bring up another question that was asked in the chat too, that season asked earlier, and I asked him to remind me. Doodle's possibly suing Squiggles. Have you heard anything about this?
No, and I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, this was another great one to bring up because, boy, have I been torn in the sense that this art is so good. This 3D art is so next. Like, this would be the 3D derivative you would want to come out of the Doodles entity themselves. They look amazing. They're candy. It's like candy sex on a page. It's just fabulous. But they're the exact Doodles copies, just in 3D. They haven't mixed the traits up. They haven't made new traits. These are just exact copies. So
why can't I find the page for it? I'm struggling here.
On OpenSea, or they're not out yet?
No, I even just like, I guess Twitter is probably.
I'll send you the info. But this is another one where, because the traits are exactly the same as the Doodles, I think it's very dependent, especially given the high mint price they're going for of 0.3, for the Doodles community to embrace it, right? Because in order for these to have a high price, you're going to need people with a similar doodle to want to pay up for a matching one. Otherwise,
I'm going to bring Cass up on stage because I think he has something to add, but keep going.
Great. I mean, otherwise, don't you just kind of feel like you have like the doodle copy? Like, it's very strange. Like, if you are doing a derivative project that exactly matches the project it was inspired by, you better damn well be blessed by that project and expect people to just want to have the pair. Like, oh, I'm going to have, I also want to have my 3D because I love my apes so much. I'm not sure about the impetus of people who don't own these doodles to want like somebody else's doodle in 3D form. So I'm thinking the whole time, like, man, this art is great. I love it. And it is arguably one of the more hype drops of the month. They have 200,000 people in the Discord. It's notoriously impossible to get the whitelist spot. It feels like it's made, but same thing as hypey. I just feel like if they couldn't get the doodles community on board, this one was going to have a similar, very, very shaky post-mint thing. I think it would mint out on the hype, and then I just think it would be a bomb post-mint. And now I'm doubly convinced of that. If Doodles are angry with this project, I think it's dead. If we get wind that the actual company Doodles project wants to go after these guys, I don't even mean if they go after them legally. If they just say that these are persona non grata, we don't approve this derivative, they're dead. I believe. As good as the art is, as rich, I love this art, but I would not mint it at 0.3, given that I don't think the Doodles community will adopt it.
They've changed the art.
They did on Squiggle?
0.3 mint price too. Holy shit.
Last night, in the Squiggles Discord last night, and even 24 hours before, they caught wind that the Doodles community were just not interested, and Doodles were already kind of speaking to OS in regards of banning them. So with their legal advisors, they have absolutely, well, before they've even minted out, they're in the process of changing all the artwork. Last night, they said 75% would be complete by today in terms of the artwork.
That seems quick for someone who's on a project. A few of them. That seems such a quick turnaround.
Maybe that was always the plan. Maybe it was drum up some controversy by doing direct copies, get some real eyes on it, and then just be like, just kidding. This is their actual project. It's not the worst marketing ploy.
How do you feel about this project?
GM, by the way, Cass.
Oh, GM. How do I feel about it? I was lucky to get whitelist from the board.
Oh, great.
And when I got into, because people in the Moonland were saying, Cass, you've got whitelist, jump on there quick. So I jumped on there. So much hype that you can't even get an answer from any question that you put in on the Discord. But then I started to read the announcements. I always kind of gauge the amount of people in the Discord, not just from the numbers from the top, but from the emoji likes that they use, just to give you some sort of a gauge. And on average, between 600 to 1,000 likes or emojis on a comment, which shows there's some sort of traction. But again, like you, when I saw the 0.3 mint for a project that hasn't got much apart from 3D art that look like doodles, and like carbon copy of Doodles at that.
Well, and here, sorry to interrupt you. I'll let you go back to that thought. Yes, if it's a 3D project of Doodles, like if Doodles didn't exist, these would be absolutely incredible. But the simplicity of Doodles means it's not super hard to redo it in a 3D format, right? And therefore, if it's just a direct copy in 3D form, now all of a sudden you're talking about
There's
something
probably
different.
AI that could render
And then,
that at this
well,
point, I bet.
yeah, very much so. And then to go and charge 0.3, I could see why people would get their back up against it, particularly Doodles. You know, they're going to mint 10,000 of these, make, you know,
Fucking cash
3,000
grab.
ETH
Jesus.
off of it, make 3,000 ETH off of their work. And then, you know, what happens? Like, that's crazy. This isn't, you know, if this is 0.025 mint price, max mint 10 stealth drop, I bet Doodles is like, these are fucking great.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it. I don't know. I definitely see why people would get a little pissy about what's going on here for sure.
Well, again, it's like when you look at the price, you think 0.3 for this, 0.5 for cool pets, and then you look at recently,
that's exactly what came into my mind too. I'm like, fucking Cool Cats is charging only a little bit more than that.
That's the most ridiculous thing. This is an unprovable. Who are these people? Like anybody that charges above a certain, you know, price, it's like, who are you? Like, you really have to have a compelling reason to charge that.
We were pretty critical of the Littles minting at 0.125, and that was an original project with a good team, and they proved us wrong, and I'm happy that they did. But like, we were like 0.15 or 0.125. Like, fuck do these people think they are? And it turned out that they lowered it from 0.25, and even that was like, whoa, like, how did that even enter your mind? But I mean, they proved us wrong, and that's great because I actually really like the project. But for this to even go beyond that and just be ripping off art,
well, even going back, even Star Wars, when they minted the 10 Genesis at that price, that's a bargain in my eyes when you look at something like Squiggles, because it's nearly 100%, 50% more than what Star Wars was. And there's no roadmap. There's no, we're going to do this and that. I mean, when I saw that actual squiggle that you've got on the screen at the moment, I've already thought of the people that own those squiggles or them doodles. And I've spoken to them about it. And they're like, why do I need to buy that? I've got the original one.
That's Nate Alex's one right on the screen right there.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a special 101. He would not go near that thing.
No.
I mean, yeah, of course. And they look great. I keep wanting to say, I love these. I love them, and I hate what's going on here. Like, it's, I just wish this was a doodle derivative approved, because I'd want one. But, you know, hey,
if you know what would have taken these to a level that probably would have got the appreciation on this price point is if they had like Doodles quality animation in 3D style for each of these.
They
like,
had that one preview you were showing, right? I just saw like the rocket shooting up, because that was Doodle's latest thing, is this new rocket.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just mean like if these were like
oh.
If these were like each and every one of them was like Doodles come to life, like they have like some just moving and you could kind of see the eyes shifting around and stuff like that.
Even that would be a copy though, because one of the things that Doodles community is like rabid for and that they love is they all get these like personal little animations in the gated part of the Discord all the time. And apparently it's what cements that. They love these little animations of their Doodles that Poopy is always dropping them in the Discord. So.
Another thought, just a random thought. Going back to Cool Cats, Cool Pets, and Baby Cool Cats, which kind of now makes sense why Cool Cats went really ham on Baby Cool Cats. And I think it's because the Cool Pets were coming out, as the artwork seems kind of similar-ish. So I believe if Doodles were to go out for these guys, Doodles might have something coming on later down the line, which is similar to this, and that's why Doodles is getting really pissed off about it.
That's not a bad point either.
I like where your head's at with that.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of projects are starting to think that way. Like, we might as well get ahead of these derivatives. We know they're coming, and we might as well treat them with care and deliver them to our community ourselves, right?
Exactly.
I would personally be willing to bet the biggest point of contention is how much they're charging for these, and they know it's going to mint out. I really do think that it's
3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we ain't going back to doodles.
And I bet they're gonna have a fucking 10% royalty on OpenSea too.
they will.
It'll be 50,000 ETH in volume by Monday. And we'll just all be sitting here like, what?
I think I'd rather mint my shaman, use the money for this to mint my shaman.
I'd a lot. Zug hit $2.70 last night. We're about a day away from shamans minting out. I'm guessing there'll be another 36 hours of shamans left. We're going to be moving on to ogres. Orcs are above 2.15 right now. Man, life is good in ETH Orchia, I will tell you.
Well, I just hope I could get my last 4 bone shards within the next 24 hours.
I think that's what Freemarket was doing the same thing. Yeah, he's like,
if anyone's listening, I need 14 shards. I will do unspeakable things for these shards. So contact me.
Same money.
Whoa, what was that? What?
I need 4 if anyone's
listening. I meant by Solana.
That is actually really impressive in terms of Zug. Oh, it's gone down with
nothing for that.
Oh, look at this
unspeakable thing. Fine.
Look at this candle down here.
Get that off the screen.
Zug dead.
Get the FUD off the screen.
Get the FUD off. What is it? How low is this liquidity pool?
I hate talking. I know it's Alpha Mint members too. Every time I quote the Zug price above $2, someone goes and sells a couple thousand. I'm watching you all. I am watching.
Bro, dude, you could sell a couple of Zug and tank this fucking chart.
Down. You know, Zug does have a very low market cap relative to some other utility tokens. I will say that.
There's a lot of utility tokens like that, to be fair.
Yeah, true.
Because most of them have figured out that if they back the liquidity pool, people are going to take it. So,
I got a taker
challenge too. Yeah,
I found a customer.
Sell all 18 of your Zug and put this baby down below $1.
Jeez,
I love it.
Aping me some Zug this morning.
Oh, that's Zug, not P-Zug? What's the... I don't
know. Does P-Zug have more liquidity now, Icon, than Zug? Am I the only one who still watches Zug?
You sent me this link. You see, you are on a whole different world of where you're looking at your charts.
You know, this is unfair. You type AAPL into any search bar in all of stocks and you get Apple. You know, you type magic into a fucking crypto search bar and you get 73 different coins on different layers with different prices. Come on. What is this?
Now he plays the poor old futures trader, just trying to make it in crypto and NFTs.
You kids with your symbol.
Back in the day, we used to be able to type in the search bar. I'm done.
That's going to change soon, but yeah. Yeah, that's going to change. I was speaking to one guy who works for he wouldn't say who it was, but 2 major PC companies or 2 major computer companies. And what he was saying in the Twitter Spaces was that their companies are not even looking to build computers anymore. You know, it's just the excess resources that they have that they're making the new PCs because they're looking at more screenless glasses tech within 5 years. So yeah, might be seeing buy to search bars and stuff. I might have to use our eyes to do it.
The latest rumor was that Apple's mixed reality headset was pushed back to 2023. We will be getting the full VR set this year, with rumors of prices ranging anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 for the headset.
That's actually a lot cheaper for an Apple headset than I thought it would be. I thought $2,500, no problem.
Yeah, now $2,000, not bad.
That's not bad at all, man. That means sell a lemon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, by the time the headset comes out, it'll be fractionalizing a lemon and selling 100th of it.
Very true.
Acquire the headset, right?
Very true. Very true. I can't wait for that moment to happen.
Yeah,
it'll be good times.
First.
It's not now. I'll just let everyone know. If you go look at the price, that would not be now. This will be at a future date.
Question for Free Market: do we have an interview coming up soon?
Yeah, we do. We have an interview today at 1 p.m. with the Elementary Boys. This is a cool project that I dropped the Discord in yesterday in the DGen Dojo. It is an elementary school where you kind of level your up you level your way up through, and then there's a casino. And all I have been told is that you better treat your casino chips like they're real. I'm not sure what that means. It's a friend of mine. Project. He gave me an honorary role in there, and I'm kind of on the journey with you guys. I'm helping him market a little bit, but I don't know much. I'm trying to get in there and level up with all of you, and I'm a casino guy, so I'm trying to get into that casino, maybe play a little blackjack and see what comes of this. So we're going to be interviewing him to ask about all the facets of Elementary Boys coming up here at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
That's why you're here. Other than the good vibes, obviously.
Oh, only the good vibes, fam. Only the good vibes. So what, in 3 weeks' time, are you going to give me an interview?
In 3 weeks?
Well, yes.
You have in 3 weeks' time, I will be, yeah.
Well, then, yes. Of course we will give you an interview. Please. This is I wish you had already told us. We'd be gearing it up. Let us know. Hit us in the DM.
Do you know what it is? It's more of a case of just trying to kind of get it all sorted out before I open my mouth. So
smart.
Yeah.
This is smart.
Once when I've got everything in play, then yeah, I'll let you guys know, man, because you're the first people I want to be involved with.
Beautiful.
Did you see the floor on the Star Wolves OpenSea collection?
No, but I did see that, and I would. Do you know what? When that giveaway happened, it was 3 o'clock in the morning in the UK. Yeah, I waited up 7 o'clock in the morning, dude. Eyes like literally pins.
The
on
odds
my
were pretty good too.
They were fucking sick, dude. They were. Sorry, excuse my French.
No.
They were sexy as fuck. Yeah, I'll be honest. I am envious of the people that have got it. But I love them as well. But I want one. I want one now.
There'll be tons of opportunity.
Now.
Shout out though, everybody that won ended up picking up theirs. Throw them up on screen there. I had to change my my Alpha Mint profile picture from the old red boy there because the happy recipient has it as theirs. So congratulations to everyone. But yeah,
I love that red boy.
The floor 0. You know why? Because nobody's fucking selling them.
Dash. The floor is infinity. Do you have infinity Ethereum?
Nobody has
infinity Ethereum.
The Weth offers incoming. We need Drip to put his up, but for 75 ETH, just to
Drip.
Nice
list yours
floor.
for 1,000 ETH, just so we can get that pretty floor up there.
Pump it up on WGMI.
R2, have you got the biker wolf?
The what?
The biker wolf, is that yours? Number 7.
This one?
Yeah.
Is it mine?
No, it was someone else's. R2 was wearing it, but he
okay.
Tell us about it.
I did see R2 wearing it. I was like, oh my god, did he get number 7?
Did you guys know that R2 Degen is one of the artists on Star Wars?
Fuck off.
Yeah. Yep.
Whoa. Is that you? You kept that quiet.
Come on, tell them R2. Don't be bad.
Come on, fam. What?
No, this is.
Don't get shy. Don't get
I'm being
shy.
put on the spot here. Yeah. I don't.
This is why you shouldn't have your iPhone.
I specifically on this one, I did do the art on the Sig Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, that was we love the Sig Wolf.
Honestly, shout out to Charlie. I have learned so much from Charlie about doing this stuff. This guy's a fucking genius on the next level. And yeah, so I'm honored that anything that I did is even close to this project. So
no, do you know what, dude? I'm not being funny. One, Charlie's a fucking legend. We all know that, but take some props, dude, if that's your artwork, because if that's your artwork, dude, they're fucking lit. And you've made a hell of a lot of people go wild because of this artwork. So take time to know what you've done, dude.
Well, that means a lot to me, honestly. It really does.
And I think that's everyone, dude, because everyone's gone nuts over it.
Dude, the experience in that Discord, some of the stuff that people have been dropping in the lore channel and the audio clips. I don't know if you guys caught the rap that somebody did. That was sick. Like, people are really going ham on this stuff. It's been
We
so
are
much fun.
verklempt. This is the beginning of an organic community if I've ever seen one, and we are just honored. And again, just huge shout out to Charlie Hilton for letting us participate, his conception of this project, and the execution, which has been second to none.
To be fair, yeah, I think even on a Twitter post up, I said that the next blue chip company, and I wasn't just saying that just to shill the fuck out of Star Wars. It's the honest truth, because in terms of community, I'm a massive person for community building. I've done events management for years, so I can understand what it takes to kind of build a hardcore community. And the way it's been executed through Star Wars, from Alpha Mint to the Star Wolves, to the way the Star Wolves are operating, to the way that it's making people interact with each other and building a community more organically just through lore, which is unfucking real. The concept is just phenomenal. And to have the team around them, yourselves, Scott, Novo, Maz, you know,
Nouveau.
I love him, man. He's fucking sick, man. Nouveau is fucking sick. Like, no, seriously, man. Like, yeah, I've got
No, I'm not laughing. Just like, we've always referred to him as NVO, which is fine. But there was a meme going on at some point when he got called Nouveau.
Nouveau riche?
I don't even remember what that was regarding, but that was hilarious.
No, it's fresh, new, French, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly.
Now, all of the guys, man, they've just been fucking amazing, and you guys as well. You've held the fort very, very, very well. So wherever this project goes, just be very proud that you guys have been a part of it. And I'm honored.
Many thanks.
Yeah, appreciate that a lot, Cass. We are headed towards the 2 hour and 30-minute mark, which is definitely going to be our longest show ever. But, you know, as we kind of alluded to before, I think we're going to start maybe just extending the AMA and the chill session, just like people in the chat throwing up just random stuff, asking about Angry Ape Army and, you know, bringing up Ape Beast and some of these other projects. I know there was a couple that people brought up too, and I apologize that we didn't get to them, but that's kind of like what we're planning on doing too, more of just after the show, after the segmented content that we have, is just to kind of keep it going and hang out with you, you know, find some discovery, see some new projects and whatnot. I just wanted to give a shout out to Jaguar, who mentioned the spatial metaverse. I have no idea what that is, but something to look into. Crypto Bats is minting today for the bronze level. Thank you, Rips, for pointing that out. And there was one other, the Lost Glitches. Max B mentioned that. I don't know if you've heard anything about that free market, but might be something to look at as well. So always appreciate it. Sorry that we didn't have time to talk about those. But speaking of talking, anything else you want to touch on free market before we wrap this up?
The gap drop later today, 12.
Yes.
Oh my God, would that be in 15 minutes?
Yeah,
I believe it's either at 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. I got to go double check, but I'm watching that one because this is the final stage now in the gap saga, where you burn one of your metallic rares to try to get these 1 of 100 special NFTs, which allow you to forge a real hoodie. That's on the Tezos blockchain. So we're going to be watching that right now as well.
Yep, definitely. That's going to be an exciting one. So I'm going to let you to get to that. And yeah, for anyone interested in checking out that interview, we will have it and record it if you want as well. So if you tune into that, we appreciate it. As always, I'm just going to, politely ask that if you made it this far and you enjoy it, make sure you're subscribed to our channel and hit the like button on the live video if you so choose. That would be great. If not, I won't be offended. But yeah, the YouTube experience has been really, really good to us, and we appreciate that. So on that note, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for sticking around for 2.5 hours this time. Free market, take us out of here.
Good luck at the tables, D-Gens.